On News Hour tonight, Borno losing ground to Boko Haram, Governor Zulum laments. Kano irrigation farmers decry impact of pest attack on yield and soaring prices. Reps to probe misuse of agricultural funds by agencies outside Agric Ministry. And on the foreign scene, Kinshasa residents call for action as flood death toll hit 33. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Borno State Governor Babagana Umara Zulum has expressed deep worry over the rising wave of Boko Haram attacks and kidnappings in communities across the state. According to Zulum, the sustained assault without corresponding offensive operations suggests that Borno is once again losing ground to insurgents. Hawa Adamu has more on this report.
It seems we are losing ground.
Borno State is once again on edge as Governor Babagana Zulum raises alarm over the renewed and sustained attacks by Boko Haram insurgents. In a high-level security meeting with traditional leaders and top security officials in Maiduguri, Governor Zulum said the scale and frequency of attacks, with little to no counter-offensive, are signs that the state is beginning to lose ground. The governor described recent attacks that dislodged military formations in Damboa, Gamburu, Ngala, and Goza local governments as alarming and a serious setback to security gains. Zulum lamented that 3 local governments, Marti, Abadam, and Guzamala, remains under the control of Boko Haram insurgents, hampering resettlement and development efforts. While appreciating the efforts of security agencies in the ongoing fight against insurgents, he appealed to the federal government to scale up its intervention and prioritize the reconstruction of critical federal roads, including the Biu, Damboa, Maiduguri, Dikwa, Ngala, and Maiduguri, Kukawa, Biu, Damaturu roads.
In recent times, Borno State in general has been witnessing sporadic attacks within the general area of the state. Many military formations were dislodged, especially in Wulgo, in Sabongari, in Wajiroko, amongst others. It seems we are losing ground. This is the main reason why we are here. We want to appeal to the federal government also to ensure that the northeastern part of Nigeria received the desired attention. It seems the focus of the Nigerian army and the focus of the Federal Ministry of Defense is not in the northeastern state of Nigeria. Considering the strategic location of the northeastern state of Nigeria,
it could be recalled that suspected Boko Haram insurgents attacked Izgi village in Goza local government area on Sunday, killing several soldiers and losing many of their own fighters in a fierce clash. Daily Trust gathered that the attack occurred around 1 a.m. when the terrorists outran the military base stationed in the community. In a separate incident, reported by security tracker Zagazola Makama, a police inspector was killed during an ambush by Boko Haram insurgents at the Police Mobile Force Training College Camp, Limankara in Goza. 2 weeks earlier, similar attacks were launched on military formations in Wajirko and Wulgo communities within Dambao and Gamborungala local government areas, respectively, underscoring the increasing frequency and scale of attacks.
Council expressed concern at the rising cases of insurgency attacks in Borno State. Council notes that recently the Boko Haram insurgents have carried out daring attacks on our military installations and critical infrastructure, and even dislodged some of these facilities. This is worrisome and is disturbing. Council called on the federal government of Nigeria and armed forces of Nigeria to continue to support the ongoing efforts in counterinsurgency operations.
The fight against insurgency and the loss of lives is ongoing, with over 2 decades of destruction, displacement, and instability leaving millions in humanitarian distress.
Now joining us via phone call is Daily Trust Northeast Bureau Chief Hamisu Matazu to give us an update on the insecurity in Borno State. Good evening, Hamisu, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
All right, what is the feeling in Borno State about the resurgence of insurgency in the state?
Well, in the last 2 or I can say 3 months, people have been complaining over the renewed Boko Haram insurgency attacks, especially in Lake Chad area and Sambisa area. You know, of recent, you have made mention of attacks that happen in some military locations in Wajirko, Wilgo, Sabangari, and other areas, where they dealt a huge blow on the military, the troops around those areas, and in most of the areas, the military locations, the formations were overrun, and many soldiers were killed. And not only here in Borno State, it happens in Yobe, where a very strong formation in Goneri was overrun by the military, and I think in all those places, the insurgents were able to hit the military hard and took away, looted military weapons. So it has sent a lot of fear into the minds of people in both states, in both Borno and Yobe states. Recently, if you go to Yobe around Goneri, Gujuba areas, people have been relocating to the state capital for fear of attacks. And even here in Borno State, you can see that people are afraid to fly routes to Biu from Damaturu to Biu local government area in Borno because of the attacks and kidnappings, abduction of travelers. Recently, a professor, university professor of Army University Biu was abducted, and up till now, nobody heard about where he is or his health condition. And last 3-4 months, similar abduction happened when they abducted the High Court judge, and along with his wife and his orderly, his driver, they were all taken away. And luckily enough, he was released, and the family and the driver were held captive. So this has been happening, and the most terrifying part of the whole issue is how the insurgents started going into towns and villages in search of vigilantes and hunters, killing some of them. We reported about 3 cases where the insurgents will just sneak into town, moving directly into the houses, breaking into the houses of even a police officer, where they killed his children. When luckily enough for him, he saw when they were coming and he killed fence, but they vented their anger on his 2 grown-up children. They killed them and burnt the house. So you can see all these combined together sending fear into the mind of people, not only in Borno State but in Yobe State. And this area is a triangle between Dambua, Bunyadi, in Gujiba local government area, and even some part of the view in Borno and Yobe State.
All right.
That area has...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving us
that
update. We are running short of time. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, moving on to more stories. The National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribado and the Minister of Defense Badaru Abubakar on Tuesday received 60 rescued kidnapped victims, including Ishaya Kuka, brother of the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Reverend Father Matthew Kuka. Also among those rescued was a Deputy Director of the National Assembly Commission, Adesanya Michael, who was abducted from his residence in Kubwa, Abuja. Handing over the rescued victims to the NSA and the Defense Minister, the coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, said the victims, comprising 35 males and 25 females, were rescued on Sunday, April 7th, by troops of one division of the Nigerian Army in a coordinated operation supported by other security and intelligence agencies. The Defense Headquarters DHQ has said that no ransom was paid to facilitate the release of retired Brigadier General Maharazu Tsiga, who was held captive for 56 days by kidnappers. In a statement, DHQ spokesman Brigadier General Tukur Gusau said troops engaged both kinetic and non-kinetic strategies to secure the release of the former Director General of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). According to General Gusau, since Brigadier General Tsiga's abduction on 7th February 2025, troops have remained relentless in their pursuit, conducting both air and ground operations within the Musa, Kankara and Faskari local government areas where he was supposedly held captive at different times, adding that the operations kept pressure on the abductors. He acknowledged the significant sacrifices made by troops who have worked day and night, often at great risk to their own lives, in their search of the senior officer. A DHQ spokesman condemned the disparaging online comments on the general's release, describing them as nothing but an act of mischief, which is calculated at undermining the dedicated efforts of military efforts to eradicate terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements from the Northwest region. Unidentified gunmen have abducted a 400-level student of the Federal University, Birnin Kebbi, FUBK, Augustine Madubia, in the early hours of Tuesday. A local resident was also shot and killed during the attack, which occurred around 3 a.m. at Istijaba Villa, an off-campus hostel located in Ungwer Jeji. According to eyewitness accounts, 5 armed men approached students who were sleeping outside their rooms due to the hot weather and demanded money. When the students explained that they had no money, the attackers assaulted them. During the chaos, a nearby resident, Malam Sidi Hussaini, who was tending to his cattle, responded to the commotion but was shot dead by the gunmen, who later abducted Augustine Madubia, a final-year student of the Department of Economics. In response to the incident, the Vice-Chancellor of FUBK, Professor Muhammad Zayan Umar, visited the scene alongside the Divisional Police Officer of Kalgo Division and officials from the Department of State Services, DSS Kalgo. He addressed the students, assuring them of the university's commitment to their safety and security. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi O. Oluyede, has charged troops to intensify efforts geared towards combating terrorism and other security challenges facing the country. Addressing the troops at the 3 Division headquarters in Jos on Tuesday, the Army Chief, who has been in Plateau State for the past 2 days following terrorist attacks in Bokos communities that left over 50 persons dead, emphasized that without peace, there can be no development. He urged soldiers to be more dutiful and committed to their duties.
I'm going to take it headlong and make things better so that our children can go to good schools and become very important people tomorrow. Am I communicating? Yes, sir. Now, having said all this, like I said earlier, when you look at our constitutional responsibility, which is to defend Nigeria and support civil authorities to make things better and safer in Nigeria, then I charge you to do more. And it's imperative that you do more. Because
earlier in Boko's local government area on Monday, after an engagement meeting with various stakeholders over the recent attack in the area, the Chief of Army Staff emphasized that kinetic approach cannot be the solutions to the ethno-religious violence in the area.
the fact here is that there are some issues that need to be resolved, politically. Because we can't rely permanently on kinetic approach to issues. So with that, I'm going to meet the governor of the state and deliberate with him to see how we can resolve these issues politically. We're talking about our aspects of the job. We're going to see how we can enhance the security of this place by inducting more men, inducting more enablers, and maybe from there we'll take it on.
The coalition of Fulani-registered organizations in Plateau State have called on the federal government to set up a panel of inquiry to investigate the killings in Bokos and other parts of the state. Similarly, the group is also calling for compensation for all victims of the crisis, irrespective of religious and ethnic affiliation. The report.
The chairman of the coalition, Garba Abdullahi Muhammad, who made the call at a news briefing in Kaduna, also said lack of justice from the government and security agencies was responsible for the escalation of the crisis in the state. The group also called for the unconditional release of all arrested and detained Fulanis, as well as a full disclosure of the whereabouts of the missing individuals as a result of the marauding attacks on their communities by security agencies.
Primarily, there is injustice and biased treatment against the Fulani people. You see, whenever there is anything that happens to the Fulani, even if we report, there is no action taken on it. But anything that happens, even if it is somebody called on Okada, that is not a Fulani man, people will begin to react that this one has been done, this one has been done. And this extortion of a matter, you see, there is no justification for that. It is only Fulanis that are subjected to such. So, and we call on that injustice to stop, especially from the security cycle.
While demanding for the deployment of neutral security personnel to restore peace and normalcy and protect the Fulani community and other communities from aggression and intimidation, the groups also demand a thorough investigation in order to arrest the perpetrators.
Demanding for the disbandment of the notorious and anti-Fulani squad, the state security outfit codenamed Operation Rainbow. Number 4, we call on the federal government to set an independent and unbiased panel of inquiry to investigate and probe these incidences and compensate victims appropriately without consideration for religion or ethnical or ethnicity or whatever tribal sentiments. Anybody that is being a victim should be compensated accordingly.
The chairman also uses the opportunity to bring to the attention of the general public, security agencies and state and federal government, other stakeholders and the international community what he termed the continuous aggression on Fulani people in Plateau State. He further enjoined all Nigerians, regardless of ethnic, religious and regional background, to work together to fight injustice, criminality, and bias for meaningful development in the country. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Jama'at Nasrul Islam JNI has raised the alarm over the recent killings of about 60 people in Bokas local government area of Plateau State, warning that the situation could degenerate into anarchy if not urgently addressed. In a statement issued by its Secretary General, Khalid Abubakar Aliyu, the Islamic body described the attack as very depressing, particularly after a period of relative peace in the state. According to the statement, the JNI has monitored very closely the security relapse on the plateau and condemns in its entirety the attempted return to the former dark days of bloodbath. JNI called on the government to rise to the occasion and act decisively as human lives seem to mean nothing anymore in Nigeria, adding that it portrays Nigeria and Nigerians wrongly to the Committee of Nations. The group reiterates that criminals must not be emboldened in whatever disguise, insisting that acts of criminalities be adequately penalized. Irrigation sector farmers in Kano State have described this year's impact of common tomato pest as particularly severe, with prices of commodity soaring as a result. At the end of the Kano irrigation sector farming, the price of a 25 kg crate of the commodity rose from 5,000 naira to 12,000 naira within a few weeks. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim has more.
For some years, tomato farmers in Nigeria have been grappling with the devastating effects of a disease known as Tuta absoluta. In 2025, Tomato Growers Association reported that the effects of the pest on tomato farms have reached unprecedented levels.
Pest infestation of Tuta absoluta and other infestation that attack tomato this year is above any imagination. I really sympathize with our farmers, and I really empathize with them, and we are always trying to see that we call upon the federal government to assist our farmers so that they can be able to recover from the loss they encounter this present year, because this year is very fascinating. It's beyond imagination.
At Kura local government area of the state, this 20-hectare farm is one of those affected this year, as Sabiu Al-Hassan and other farmers count their losses. The pest has been affecting our crops for the past 8 to 10 years. This year, it's worse than we have ever seen. Some of us were able to harvest just little before the pest completely wiped out the remaining crop. Abdul Hakim Sani trades in tomatoes and onions and engages in farming on a small scale. He says he cannot attempt farming tomatoes in the future after this year's financial losses. I know of a farm where as much as 2.5 million naira was invested, but not up to 600,000 naira was actually realized after the harvest. I don't think we farmers can continue this way. At the major tomato market at Konargafang are empty crates which in the past few years would have been stuffed with tomatoes. Traders say many farmers were forced to abandon tomato farming for other crops.
Last year, since from the beginning of the season, that makes some farmers to be scared about investing much of their investment into tomato production. So some of them switch over to wheat and other cereal crop production so that they can be able to save some of their investment. Because tomato production, if you are not lucky enough, after spending all your money, at the end of the day, you may find out that you not even harvest anything.
With just weeks into the harvest season, markets are already facing a shortage of tomatoes, leading to skyrocketing prices. Despite ongoing efforts by National Horticultural Research Institute and support from various foreign donor organizations, the recurrence of the pest has remained a persistent problem. Farmers say the solutions to this enduring challenge are multifaceted.
In as far as you want to start growing tomato, you have to plan better. Plan, first of all, get a better variety of tomato which is acceptable to the market. Make your land prepared almost on time so that you cannot be able to fall under this Tuta absoluta. This Tuta absoluta has come to stay in Africa, not even in Nigeria, because it is very much friendly to the temperature when the temperature is high. So even if you didn't see it, now for instance, if you go to some farm, it has already left the area because it has finished all the tomato there. So it has left the area, then it will start sensing where can it get its food. Yeah, so that is how it is, and it can sense you from the thousands of kilometers. So it is only that you have to be monitoring your farm time on time. If you see the symptoms which you don't understand as a farmer, so you better go and report it either to the association concerned of your crops, that is our Tomato Grower Association, or to any extension agent.
As confidence in tomato farming continues to erode, farmers fear that if the situation persists, the commodity may soon become scarce beyond measure. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, as farmers prepare for this year's rainy season farming, communities in Muye ward of Lapai local government area of Niger State are battling to reclaim farmlands eroded by years of recurring floods. Residents told Trust Television that their lives are no longer the same due to perennial floods that have destroyed their farmlands. Abubakar Akote has more.
Triggered by the frequent overflow of River Gurara, the flooding has displaced many from their primary occupation of farming and fishing. Once thriving farmlands that produced maize, rice, and cassava in commercial quantities have now been silted and abandoned. In addition to lost farmlands, the once busy Muye market, which occupied 2.6 hectares, has ceased operations. Destruction caused by the flooding has affected multiple communities, including Muye, Apataku, Egba, Eboa, Bina, Achiba, Dere, Cheku, Sokun, and Ara. Some people have migrated to other places now to acquire lands to cultivate, because we no longer cultivate our lands. The lands have been silted by flooding, so we have been forced to abandon these lands, while many people have resorted to commercial motorcycling because we cannot acquire land for farming. We produce maize, rice, and cassava, but for the past 8 years, we have stopped. Since this flooding started, we no longer have the opportunity to plant rice, maize, and cassava.
And even the women coming to the market, there is no road for them to come unless they follow the ship or boat.
Before now, you might have heard this is supposed to be marketplace, market. Buildings were done, water came and destroyed everything. You see some people here now, and to talk about how it affects, I told you, somewhere there is Eba, and we have a very big stream with a lot of fish. Half of that has dried up because of the sand that the river is packing to that place.
A 100 meters long and 7 meters deep embankment constructed by the federal government to prevent the river from overflowing has collapsed 4 times since its initial construction. Residents said understanding the language of water is critical for any lasting solution.
People that live in river areas, they understand the language of water than that person that comes from somewhere. And if you don't understand the language of water, you come and do what you want to do before you realize whatever I do is going to pack away. And that's why I told them, let them work together with the people in the community and understand the language of water.
During the flag-off of the embankment reconstruction, the acting managing director of the National Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission (NIPADEC), Jimo Arunagabi, announced that the project will cost over 600 million naira.
The core value of this intention will reposition the community for greatness in terms of economic activities. Their standard of living will be higher than it is, then they can say bye to poverty. Because the mainstay of this community is fishery, agri. So if we are able to do this, we are rest assured that the community will be able to come back to reckoning.
He said the construction is expected to be completed in July before the August rains to enable farmers go back to farming this year. Abubakar Akote, Trust TV News, Mina.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. Bauchi residents divided on necessity of demonstrations. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. Borno losing ground to Boko Haram, Governor Zulum laments. Kano irrigation farmers decry impact of pest attack on yield soaring prices. And moving on to more stories, the House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security has commenced investigation into the allegations of abuse and mismanagement of about 1.12 trillion naira of government intervention funds earmarked for agricultural development and food security initiatives through the Anchor Borrowers programs. The chairman of the committee, Chike Okafor, noted that the committee is worried that despite the huge sums of money budgeted and disbursed to 4.67 million smallholder farmers over the years for agricultural programs, Nigeria continues to grapple with food scarcity, rising food prices and malnutrition, among others. The committee assured that the purpose of the public hearing is not witch hunt, but to uncover the truth, identify systematic failures, and ensure that public funds allocated for agricultural development are utilized transparently and effectively.
Today, we will listen to submissions from those of you who are here, agencies, stakeholders, and experts. We expect full cooperation, honest disclosures, and actionable recommendations. Accountability is not an option. It is a necessity in this case, this assignment. Nigerian people deserve to know how their resources are being used, and this committee is committed to ensuring that every kobo allocated to agriculture serves its intended purpose.
As of 28th of February 2025, the sum of 851 billion, representing 75.89% of the total amount disbursed, has been repaid, Mr. Chairman and the committee members. Repayments under the program were through cash and or harvested produce by the beneficiaries of the loan. The breakdown is as follows. Under the association, 584.3 billion was disbursed, 403.9 billion has been recovered. We have an outstanding on the association model of 180.3 billion naira.
A senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha has filed a 5 billion naira suit against her colleague, Senator Nwaebonyi, who represents Ebonyi North Central Senatorial District, over alleged defamation. The suit, filed by Apoti Uduagan through her lawyer Michael Numa at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja, seeks to declare as false and malicious statements made by Nwaebonyi during an interview on Channels Television on March 6, 2025. According to the suit, Apoti Uduagan asserts that Nwaebonyi described her as a gold digger, habitual liar, and habitual blackmailer during the interview. Amongst others, she prayed the courts to declare as false, malicious, and defamatory claims that she is a mother of 6 children from different men allegedly made by her colleague. She noted that such remarks undermine her reputation as a role model for women aspiring to enter politics. Apoti Uduagan in the suit contends that Nwaebonyi's statements have caused significant harm to her reputation and public embarrassment. Additionally, she asked the court to direct Nwaebonyi to pay 5 billion naira in aggravated and exemplary damages for the false, malicious, and injurious statements made against her. The Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Nyesom Wike on Monday met with the suspended members of the Rivers State House of Assembly in the United Kingdom, UK. This followed his earlier meeting with some of his political allies in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, on Sunday. The meeting was disclosed by the minister's media aide, Lere Olayinka, via his Facebook page. According to Olayinka, the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, hosted Rivers State House of Assembly members who are in the United Kingdom for legislative capacity building toward dinner. Recall that the lawmakers were suspended by President Bola Tinubu after declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State due to security concerns. Governor Sim Fubara was also suspended for 6 months. 4 persons who were previously detained in connection with the fire incident at the Rivers State House of Assembly have raised fresh allegations claiming they are being pressured to alter their original statement to implicate Edison Ehie, the Chief of Staff to the suspended Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara. They are Chime Ezebalike, Kenneth Kasa, Oladele Lukman, and McPherson Olumini, who were in November last year acquitted of the charges after about 6 months in Kuje Correctional Facility. At a press briefing in Port Harcourt on Monday, Ezebalike said they were recently contacted by a prominent PDP leader in a local government area to revise their narrative. 3 of the 4 acquitted suspects consented to appear on camera during the press briefing.
At the Federal Intelligence Response Team facility, multiple attempts were made to coerce us into making false confessions. We are denied access to our legal representation, and when permitted to write statements, were stopped midway for not writing what they wanted, statements that falsely implicated Edison Ehie and others. In a particular distressing moment, Honorable Major Jack, a member of the Rivers State House of Assembly and an ally of Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, arrived in the company of a uniformed officer and personally pressured us to implicate the Chief of Staff to the Rivers State Government House. When we resisted and refused, they resorted to beatings, starvation, and psychological torture. Days later, Honorable Major Jack and former chairman of Ikwere Local Government, Samuel Wanosike, returned, were offered money alongside promises of a fully paid trip to Ghana or any country of our choice with our families in exchange for implicating Edison Ehie and others, which we rejected all. On December 19, 2023, we were forcefully transferred to Abuja by road and arrived on December 20th to yet another round of inhumane treatment. Kenneth Basa, also subjected to a brutal experience in Port Harcourt, was later moved to Abuja. In his case, the same bribe of 200 million and a trip to Ghana for himself and his family was offered by Samuel Wanosike, reportedly on the instruction of the FCT minister.
An Abuja-based real estate developer, Jude Ezenwafo, has emerged as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party for the upcoming November 8, 2025 Anambra State governorship election. Ezenwafo, who is the sole aspirant of the PDP, was unanimously endorsed by the 853 delegates from the 21 local government chapters of the party in the state at the party's primary held at the Dora Akunyili Women Development Center, Awka, on Tuesday. He was the only aspirant who purchased the party's 40 million naira nomination form for the governorship primary election. About 14 national delegates were also accredited to take part in the election. The leader of the PDP National Committee, mandated to conduct the party's governorship primary, Colonel Chijioke Onwubuya, retired, declared Ezenwafo the winner of the primary. Speaking after the primary, Ezenwafo thanked the delegates for their support and urged them to work to ensure the party wins the November 8 governorship election. The gates of the Banana Island, situated in the Ikoyi area of Lagos State, were on Tuesday shut for entry and exit. The shutdown has caused gridlock on the Lekki-Ajah axis and some other parts of Ikoyi. There are speculations that the shutdown was due to the proposed demolition of the Banana Club house. In a viral video on Tuesday, vehicles in long queues were seen stranded in the estate, with some men manning the gates to the estate. At the time of filing this report, there were contradictory claims on the government agencies responsible for the development. While some attributed it to agencies of the federal government, some others said agencies of the state government were responsible. Residents of Bauchi State expressed divergent views with the ongoing Take It Back movement nationwide protest, which have already begun in some parts of the country. Earlier, a Nigerian police force issued a statement warning the protesters to shelve their planned demonstration, as according to them, it is ill-timed to stage any kind of protest. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has more.
Organizers of the Take It Back movement protests, which were meant to be spearheaded by different concerned Nigerian youth groups, had urged their members across the country to prepare for a nationwide protest, but still protesters in some states are nowhere to be found. In Bauchi State, the demonstration could not hold, maybe due to the police warning or other reasons. Some residents share their opinions on the issue.
Haka a Najeriya ma wani coincidence ne zai zo idan aka barke Allah kawai san tsewarta.
It is sad that youths are always on standby to protest and call for revolution, not minding the implications on national security as well as safety of lives and property, especially when it is unplanned. The elite are enjoying, while graduates roaming the street without jobs or business capital. Trouble looms, but many are not seeing it. That is why we need to gainfully engage the youths in productive ventures.
But what is the issue we are protesting? There's anything bad when the opposition come out to say, see, things are not well. And because we have not been having good opposition in the country, that's why you see people talking about it is being politically motivated or not. Yes, we are supposed to have opposition, and protest being organized by opposition is not a crime. It is a constitutional right.
If you can vividly recall, during the N5bn government protest that took place nationwide, the protest has not yielded any positive results. Rather, it yields a result of losing lives and properties of innocent citizens.
Meanwhile, others believe that the solution to Nigerian economic challenges is tied to protest, but coming together as united Nigerians to dialogue for development.
Security situation of the country is not advisable for anyone to go on protest, because the hoodlums or the saboteurs will utilize the given opportunities to perpetrate their ill, actions. You see, there are parameters in which, if you have, grievances, where you can be able to channel it to the government. That is why there are houses of representatives, Senate, and the media as well.
It is all about anti-people policies and programs. And as long as we continue with this kind of policies of privatizations, of taking foreign loans with unfair, harsh compromises leading to serious economic consequences on the people, as long as we continue along this path, selling government assets to private individuals, certainly hardship will continue.
The organizer says the demonstration is aimed at demanding accountability from leaders and resisting continuous clampdown on citizen rights to free expression on issues that matter or affecting the Nigerian masses. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Aggrieved youths in some parts of Akure North local government area of Ondo State on Tuesday took to the streets to protest the killing of 4 farmers in a fresh attack by suspected herders. The youths in their numbers brought the corpse of the slain farmers to the Alabaka governor's office in Akure, the state capital, demanding an end to the incessant attacks and killings of local farmers in the area by the suspected marauders. Reports say the latest killing comes barely 2 weeks after 5 farmers were killed at Aba Oyimbo in the same Akure North local government area of the state, an incident that infuriated the residents who stormed the governor's office with corpses of the deceased in a coffin to show their grievances. According to the youths, the 4 farmers were killed at the 1313 farming settlement while heading to the farm in the early hours of Tuesday. The protesters also shut down the barricade and barricaded the roundabout intersection that led to the governor's office and the federal secretariat. The police public relations officer in the state, who confirmed the attack, said tactical teams of the police command have already been deployed to the area to restore normalcy, adding that the perpetrators will soon be arrested and brought to book. Stakeholders in Nigeria's civil society space have called for the passage of the Whistleblowing Act into law. This, they say, will boost the fight against corruption and help protect whistleblowers in the country. Trust TV's Noel Sampson has more.
Whistleblowing or public interest disclosure is the act of disclosing information, often by an employee, about activities in public or private organizations. The objective is to expose activities which are considered illegal, immoral, illicit, unsafe, or fraudulent. However, as of today, Nigeria still does not have a comprehensive whistleblowing legislation, a situation that has raised questions about the status of whistleblowing in Nigeria, as well as the existence or not of sufficient protection for whistleblowers. Meanwhile, several attempts have been made to create whistleblowing legislation, such as the Whistleblowing Protection Bills of 2008, 2011, 2015, and 2019, but none has ever become a law. In 2016, there was a more active drive to have some sort of whistleblowing framework within Nigeria, which led to the Whistle Stop Gap policy of 2016. But 9 years after, the policy seems not to be active again, making many to ask questions about the status of whistleblowing in Nigeria, as well as protection for whistleblowers.
No, they are not. You can't protect when there is no law to even disclose in the first place. The first one has to come. The public interest disclosure law is the one. When you have it, then the witness protection will now come, which is why you are not seeing any data on whistleblowing in Nigeria, or how many people have blown whistle before, or they are publicly disclosed something that be of national interest, or some amounts that have been paid, or any benefits that have been made. You don't see any data because there's no law guiding these things.
People not showing that enthusiasm, that interest in whistleblowing because of the punishment that comes along with it. So that is the status now.
The fact that we don't have a whistleblower law is really at the heart of why whistleblowing as a concept or an idea has gone down.
If you are a whistleblower and you want to protect public integrity and public transactions in our country, you are only placing your head on the chopping board.
From the above responses, it is clear that whistleblowers are at risk in the country, a development many blame on the failure to pass the whistleblowing bill into law.
There has been a bill in the National Assembly for the last 10 years. For them to pass that bill, call it public interest disclosure bill, call it whistleblower bill, whatever name they want to call it is fine, as long as it contains the elements of where there's a mechanism where people can disclose information and they'll be protected.
There is a bill now lying on the desk of Mr. President, a whistleblower protection bill. The President, we are appealing to him to send it to the National Assembly as quickly as possible and then ensure that the National Assembly passes it so that he can sign it into law.
Can only plead with the President to ensure speedy passage or delivery of the bill to the National Assembly.
The most important thing that I think this government should do is to pass an executive bill at the 10th National Assembly so that we can have a Whistleblowers Protection Act.
Whistleblowers are the first line of defense against corruption, fraud, and wrongdoing, and the single most effective source for information about fraud and other illegal activities. Hence, it is important for them to have constitutional backing as well as the necessary protection to enable them function effectively. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In business, the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company PLC said it is increasing dividend payout to shareholders by 134%, riding on the back of record revenue and profitability. The latest audited report and account of NACO for the year ended December 31st, 2024, released at the Nigerian Exchange, showed that the company recorded well-rounded performance with both actual and underlying performance indicators at their highest levels. Both the profit and loss accounts and the balance sheet indicated strong performance outlook. Total revenue rose by 88.5% from 28.40 billion naira in 2023 to 53.54 billion naira in 2024. With increased top-line efficiency, gross profit doubled by 120.53% to 33.08 billion naira in 2024 as against 15 billion naira in 2023. Operating profit also jumped by 123.93% from 8.86 billion naira to 19.84 billion naira, underscoring the fact that the group's performance was driven mainly by core business operations. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) is at the final stage of the long-anticipated initial public offerings (IPO) as mandated by the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. A statement by the Africa Energy Chamber on Tuesday said NNPCL and other African national oil giants such as Angola, in a bid to bolster investment and competitiveness within Africa's oil and gas sector, are progressing with their respective IPOs. The IPOs are poised to attract significant global investment, providing much-needed capital to enhance production capabilities, improve infrastructure, and foster long-term growth. Chief Finance and Investor Relations Officer NNPCL, Olubenga Oluwaniyi, stated that the company is engaging with prospective investor relations executives and investment banks to facilitate the process. He said the initiative aims to transition NNPC into a fully commercial entity capable of independently raising capital without reliance on state funds. The IPO is expected to enhance transparency, improve corporate governance, and attract both domestic and international investors to Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Away from Nigeria, the death toll from flooding in the Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC) has continued to rise as authorities race to evacuate people. The floods over the weekend, prompted by heavy rains, cut access to more than half of the capital, Kinshasa. By Sunday evening, the death toll had risen to 33 as authorities struggled to evacuate and support hundreds of families trapped in their homes. A DRC's Interior Minister, Jacquemain Shabani, announced on state television late on Sunday that 10 more people have been confirmed dead, adding to the previous day's count of 23. The heavy rains began last week, causing the Key Njili River to overflow on Friday, submerging hundreds of buildings. While the situation had improved by Monday morning, some access roads remained blocked and vehicular traffic was limited. Many residents blamed the government for not responding quickly enough to the disaster. It's now time for sport updates with Adeniyi Ajishafe.
Bayelsa State have emerged winners of the first edition of Niger's Delta Sports Festival. Declaring the result at the closing ceremony of the games at the Uyo Township Stadium, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Niger Delta Development Commission, Samuel Ogbuku, said Bayelsa came top ahead of Delta, Edo State and Rivers. Team Bayelsa won 86 medals, comprising of 42 gold, 29 silver, and 15 bronze, to beat 8 other states that competed in the maiden Niger Delta Sports Festival. While the State Director of Sport, Braveman Wodi, attributed the achievement to support from Bayelsa State Government and the hard work by athletes, officials, and administrators. Team Delta finished second with 99 medals, with 41 gold, 26 silver, and 32 bronze, as Edo with 89 medals in 23 gold, 35 silver, 31 bronze third. Plans are underway to groom over 500 exceptional talents discovered for greater exploits in the future, according to NDDC. 165 gold medals were won in 17 sporting events, featuring over 3,000 athletes, coaches, and officials from 9 states in the region. And in football, FC Basura of Lafia Ferretti continued in the second tier of Nigeria National League with the 3-1 defeat of Kada Warriors FC. The most anticipated match began on a high note, with both sides pushing to take total control, and not long Kada Warriors' resilience paid off in the 16th minute when Haruna Abubakar benefited from a beautiful cross from Daniel to tap in to give the Warriors a lead. leaving goalie Silas Panchak helpless. An equalizer came in the 28th minute when Mahmouda Mohamed rose to a header from Kim Pajok assist, leaving the match one goal apiece in the break. Mahmouda Mohamed netted his second when he rose again to hit the ball into the visitors' net to give the home side a 2-1 lead in the 56th minute. As the game progressed, prolific winger Sunday Aluku delivered a clinical finish from close range to add to the tally, making it 3-1 for the home side. With the victory, the Amina Musa tutor side demonstrated their strength both in attack and resilience, securing another win to top the NNL Conference deal with 13 points from 8 matches, keeping their dream for playoff spot alive. FC Basira will face Adamawa United on 23rd April at Makwada Stadium in Newman, Adamawa State. That's Sports News. I'm Adeni Akitabe.
And with that, we wrap up News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubzala. Bye for now.